Well, yes, and it really is implementing what I just said about thinking-based learning. We found there are about 13, 14 different kinds of thinking that people do every day that many people don't do too well. You know, when you make decisions, sometimes you don't think about other options and you don't think about the disadvantages and make bad decisions. So the idea is to teach students to do these kinds of thinking skillfully. And that means that they work with the teacher to define a strategy, a series of important questions that need to be asked and answered in order to take time and think more carefully when they're doing those kinds of thinking. For example, we'll go back to decision making. You know, many students don't think about other options. So stopping and asking are there other options is important in making decisions, and that's one of the things that students can learn using the technique that we introduce teachers to. We worked yesterday on comparing and contrasting, and many teachers have learned that to have students compare and contrast, all you have to do is list some similarities and differences. But that is not satisfactory, because you list similarities and differences, and what do you have? You have a whole bunch of disconnected pieces of information. Differences, you need to think about the similarities and differences a little more. So when the students recognize that, you ask them, well, what else do you need to think about? And they add questions like, well, which of these are really important? Let's make a short list. And what are our priorities here? Well, that's going to help us sort out which one is the best one. So they take additional steps that lead them beyond the more simplistic ways of doing these kinds of thinking. And so what we're doing is we're helping teachers to see what the strategies are for more skillful thinking, and we do that through demonstrating lessons that other teachers have done on the same type of thinking skill that work very well. And then based on those lesson examples, we're asking teachers to come up with their own ideas for lessons that they can implement. And that means all the way down to 3 and 4-year-old kids, and all the way up to 17, 16, 17, 18-year-old children. And that's the technique. Now that takes a little bit of time. It's not hard to do, but you have to reorient yourself as a teacher. So what we're doing in this school is we've broken up those 13 or 14 different skills into 3 segments. And in each of the workshops, there are about 4, sometimes 5 thinking skills that are covered. We do, first workshop, we work on 4 basic skills that start at the beginning of the year. The teachers have then a chance to try them out in their classrooms. We then come back and do one-on-one coaching, not evaluation, but we work closely with the teachers to figure out how what they have done in teaching one of the lessons. And that helps teachers to then plan the next lesson that they're doing. So we do that for a certain period. Then we'll come back and do a second workshop with additional thinking skills. We follow that with coaching. And then we come back and do a third workshop at the end of the year. And that covers everything. And by then, the teachers have learned how to teach these kinds of skills infused into their content, where they help the students learn how to use the skills to think about content. And it's quite a magnificent structure that they build into their classrooms.